It's essential that you recognize that if there are problems in any of these areas, then it's really an obstacle to your happiness as a couple and your family. It's time to take action to move these obstacles out of the way. Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Talk Love with Carol show. Today, our topic is 6 common couples problems that you must address. And this week, I'm starting a series within our series, and it's a can't miss series, in my opinion, about these 6 key areas that you must focus on to have a good relationship. It's essential that you recognize that if there are problems in any of these areas, then it's really an obstacle to your happiness as a couple and your family. So it's time to take action to move these obstacles out of the way. So I'm Dr. Carol Henry, and I'm a psychologist and a relationship coach. And over the years, I've seen over 1,000 couples. In seeing them, I noticed that they all want a better relationship. However, they had at least one and sometimes all of the problems that I'm going to tell you about in a minute. Problem areas. And they were very unhappy about those areas. And some were quite unhappy in their relationship. They knew they had the potential for their relationship to be way better, happier, closer, and more successful, but they were stuck in patterns of behavior, habits of thinking that kept them from achieving that relationship they dreamed of. And so these are the things I worked on with them. And I don't want you to have to suffer these issues as long as they did, because so often they waited a long, long time and really were suffering. So over the next few weeks, I'll be spotlighting each of these issues and offering you insight into them and giving you actions that you can take to get rid of them. So this week, I'm going to give you an overview, discuss each of them briefly, and why ridding yourself of them is crucial to your relationship happiness and satisfaction. And then in the following weeks, we'll cover each one in more details, one per week, and several actions to help you eliminate them from your life. Eliminate them if possible. Okay, sound good? I hope so. Here we go. The first one is communication. And I picked that as the first one because nearly all the couples that call me up and say, "Will you work with me?" or contact me in some way, have that as what they say is their problem, communication. And communication is so crucial. It's the way we get to understand each other. It's the way we get to sort through our differences of opinion. It's such a crucially important element of our of our life to be able to communicate well with our partner and with anybody, of course. One of the reasons that spoken communication is so important, as you know, I'm sure you know many reasons, but one I think of is the confusion that different kinds of communication causes with people. And I'm thinking of body language, right? That's a way of communicating, even though we're not even aware of it a lot of the time. And facial expressions. And I think of what people will say sometimes, don't look at me that way. Or what's the matter? Nothing. Yes, I can tell. And what they're looking at is the face. And I'll tell you, some of you may have heard this example before, but when my kids were little, especially my son, he was very observant. And he'd see me going like this. Now, what I do when I'm thinking hard about something is I furrow my brow. I'm not sure why. Somehow it's connected with thinking deeply. Well, to this little guy looking up at me, seeing this, he said, Mom, why are you mad? And I wasn't mad. I'm not mad. Yes, you're mad. I know you're mad. And I realized, I didn't realize it before him, but I realized at one point, I froze my face and I went in the bathroom and looked at my face and I thought, yikes, because I knew I was thinking, and apparently I do this, but he thought I was mad. Anyway, it's very imperfect. It's finite what we can show in our face, but boy, do people misinterpret a lot of it. So we want to get super good at speaking what's going on and how to speak it in certain ways. So the one thing I'm going to leave you with, because we're going to talk about this more next week, is remember that words can hurt. There's that saying, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Ha ha. That's the opposite. We've all known, and I'll say all because I know you've been hurt by words before, because everybody gets hurt by words at some point. Be careful with what you're doing with your words and think about how it's going to impact your partner, because words don't go away. We remember them because we've got those big brains that sort everything out, and words are important. Okay, the second is money. And I'm not here to be a financial advisor by any means, but there's a lot of research about the most important thing people fight about in relationships, argue about, disagree about, is money. More than sex, more than parenting, money. And it's not how much you have, because this goes for people with a boatload of money and people that are struggling paycheck to paycheck. Money is power, and it's impacted by our values, our emotions, how we manage money as a couple is just so important. How do we talk about it? And and I want to help you with ways to stop arguing about it, or let's say fighting about it, but instead just talk about it. And ideally, we're gonna do some things that enable you to make it one of those we things. This is how we manage our expenses. That's my goal for you. Okay, if I get to have a goal for you. Anyway, third, time together. We are inundated with so many stressors. Kids, parenting, all the things that we have to do with parenting. By the way, none of the things I'm going to mention are bad things. They're just things that we have. It's life. And so we have parenting, if we have kids, careers that we want to elevate ourselves in. We have some ambition. We possibly have parents that need our attention. We have friends that we want to hang out with. There's so many things. We could name 40 of them. I won't. So in all the incoming expectations and things you have to do, so very often nurturing your relationship is at the bottom of the list. And I know that for most people, that really isn't where they want it to be. But it just seems like something they can put off. And I'm here to say it isn't something you can put off. We'll talk more about that. So, habits of thinking is the next one. We're often unaware of how we think about our things because we've gained some of these, learned some of these in our childhoods. So it's our reality. It's just our go-to thinking. And so some of these serve us. Some of them are really good things. Like if somebody thinks, I'm a part of a community and I have a responsibility to make our community better. That's one you'd want to keep. I am a good parent. I'm going to be the best parent that I can, the best dad, the best mom, whatever it is. And that's a great one. But there's some of them that are obstacles that we've learned a long time ago. For example, gender roles. I shouldn't have to take the garbage out because I'm not the guy, or I'm not the one. I'm not the one. Household things in general. I don't have to do that because I'm just tired and I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. There's a habit of thinking, I only do things I feel like. Oh my goodness. No, we can't live that way. And I think in many areas you don't. I mean, if you're at work and you're thinking, ugh, I don't like billing. I think I won't do my billing. Really? That's, I don't feel like it. Okay, we need to do things we don't feel like. But that's a way of thinking that I should do some. I can't do that because I don't feel like doing it. That's an example. I'm not, there's many examples. Okay, so we're going to spend some time on habits of thinking and analyzing them and thinking, does that serve me? Does that not? Okay. Fifth is transitions. And I've been doing a lot of work lately, and I have an upcoming course on empty nest. But in my thinking about that, I have been thinking about how many transitions we really have in our parenting journey, but in our life journey too. So in the parenting journey, there's having the first baby, and the second and the third, if you have that many or however many. But that first one, that is a transition. It's like nothing you've ever had. It's absolutely 24/7. And again, I love kids. I'm 100% glad I have them and had them as children. I've been, babies. But it's a transition. And it's a time when, kind of to swing back to time together, it really changes your time together. But it also changes everything in your life. Second one I thought of is a child going to kindergarten, your first child going to kindergarten. Oh my goodness. That was a shocker for me. It made me cry. Or let's say I cried in response to that. Not in front of her, but after I dropped her off. Middle school and puberty, when your kids get that age, oh my goodness. Everything you thought you knew about them gets challenged. Okay. And then there's when your child gets their driver's license. Usually in high school. What a difference. They can drive off and drive away, and they will. It's the beginning of that. So then their senior year, because this is when empty nesting starts really revving up, because they're applying to college. What they're doing is applying to leave home. It's so good. It's to be proud of, and you've helped them along the way and all the things, and it's what you want for them, but it's not what you want for yourself necessarily, or maybe you do. But anyway, it's definitely a thing. And then when they go to college, and when they get married, and when they start having children, etc. Okay, so that's all the kids' things. But there are some couples that don't have kids. They have transitions too. And I guess some of them, the people with kids also have transitions in work. Whose work do we pay attention to? If you're both working and somebody gets a promotion, do we go to another city if that promotion requires, or do we not? And how do we make that decision? One or all of our parents are aging and ill, let's say, and how do we navigate that? How do we pull that into our life? Do we have somebody come live with us? Do we move to them? All the things, all the transitions of life. Do one of us get sick? And what does that mean for us? And all the things. There's so many issues around that, and a lot of it, to circle back around to communication. That's when you've got good communication, you can handle all these things, navigate them together. Okay. And the sixth and final one, I haven't decided, because I want you to decide. I'm inviting, asking, trying to encourage you to write a note to me in the comments. Email me. Find me on Facebook Messenger. Let me know what's an important one for you. And I would love to talk about that. I will talk about the one that the most people want. Okay. Or maybe I'll even talk about extend it and we'll have more than 6. So that's it for today. It's the beginning of the series, and I've just told you what the next several weeks are going to be like. Next week will be communication. So because you're dedicated, I'm going to assume that, dedicated to growing your relationship, to being happier in your relationship, I want to say one of the best ways to be successful in life is to join it yourself or to put yourself around groups of people who are all doing similar things, have similar values, and thinking about similar things. So athletes hang out with other athletes because they've got a lot in common, right? Members of a religion meet together because they know they're better together, and they're encouraging each other. And the same goes for people who want to learn a new skill, engage in a new activity, skiing, quilting, shooting guns at a gun range, whatever. They join classes or they join a club. So to put yourself into a community of like-minded couples, all of whom are working to make the relationship even better, consider joining my Facebook group, Committed Couples Growing Together. Okay, say it again. Committed Couples Growing Together. There's lots of those committed couples in there. There's a lot of videos. There's interaction with people. It's just so nice to be in a group where people are trying to get even happier in their relationship versus being with some people that are negative about their partner and they just complain about it all the time. That's not what you get here. Anyway, consider it. It's supportive. It encourages people. You've got a lot of free resources in there. Join us. Committed Couples Growing Together. Okay, so I will be back next week at the usual time, 1 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday. And we'll be talking in depth about communication. And please be thinking, what else do we want? What else do you want to learn about besides the 5 that I already talked about? Okay. I hope you have a wonderful week. Love well, and I'll see you next week. Bye now.